A bright light in the world of comedy has gone quiet, leaving behind memories, laughter, and a deep sense of loss among fans and fellow performers alike. John Mulrooney, a man whose voice and presence shaped late-night television and stand-up stages for decades, has passed away at the age of 67. News of his death spread quickly, sending shockwaves through the entertainment industry. For many, it was hard to believe that someone so full of energy, humor, and life could be gone so suddenly. John Mulrooney was more than a comedian. He was a storyteller, a sharp observer of everyday life, and a performer who knew how to connect with an audience in a way that felt personal and genuine. Born with a natural talent for humor, Mulrooney carved his place in comedy through persistence, originality, and an unmistakable stage presence. His jokes were not just punchlines but reflections of real experiences, delivered with timing that only a seasoned performer could master. Over the years, he became a familiar face on television. Many remember him as the host of Fox's comic strip Live, a show that brought stand-up comedy into living rooms across the country and gave a platform to countless comedians. His role on the show was not just as a host, but as a guide into the world of comedy. He had a way of making both performers and viewers feel at ease, turning each episode into a shared experience. In addition to his hosting duties, Mulrooney frequently appeared as a guest host on The Late Show. Stepping into such a high-profile role is no small task, but he did so with confidence and ease. Those appearances further cemented his reputation as a trusted and respected figure in late-night television. He wasn't trying to imitate anyone else, he simply brought his own voice to the desk. Beyond television, Mulrooney remained deeply committed to stand-up comedy. Even after decades in the industry, he continued to perform live, driven by the same passion that first brought him to the stage. What makes his passing especially difficult to comprehend is how active he remained until the very end. Just weeks before his death, he had performed publicly at a benefit event. Audience members and colleagues who saw him during that time recall that he appeared healthy, engaged, and fully present. There were no obvious signs that anything was wrong. This is why the news of his death on December 29, 2025, came as such a shock. John Mulrooney passed away at his home in Coxsackie, New York, surrounded by his family. At 67 years old, he was an age many would consider a time of reflection and continued creativity. For Mulrooney, it seemed to be just that, another chapter in an ongoing journey. As of now, the official cause of his death has not been publicly revealed. This lack of information has naturally led to questions, but it has also highlighted how sudden and unexpected his passing truly was. There were no widely known reports of serious health issues. By all accounts, he had been living an active life, balancing performances, appearances, and personal time. Friends and fellow comedians have described him as someone who loved being on stage. Comedy was not just his profession, it was his way of engaging with the world. He had a unique ability to find humor in ordinary moments, turning everyday observations into something unforgettable. That skill earned him respect across generations of performers. For younger comedians, Mulrooney was an example of longevity in an industry known for constant change. He proved that authenticity could sustain a career over time. His influence extended beyond what audiences saw on screen. Behind the scenes, he was known as supportive, generous, and deeply knowledgeable about the craft of comedy. The loss of John Mulrooney is not just the loss of a performer, but of a voice that helped shape a particular era of entertainment. His work remains a reminder of a time when comedy felt raw, immediate, and deeply human. Fans around the world have taken to social media to share memories, favorite moments, and personal stories of how his humor impacted their lives. Some remember watching him late at night, others recall seeing him live, and many simply remember the feeling of laughter he brought into their homes. In moments like these, it becomes clear that a comedian's true legacy is not measured by awards or titles, but by the joy they leave behind. John Mulrooney's passing leaves an empty space in comedy, but his work continues to speak for him. His voice, his timing, and his perspective live on through recordings and memories. As the comedy world mourns, there is also gratitude, for the years he spent making people laugh, for the stages he graced, and for the authenticity he never lost. Though the details surrounding his death remain private, what is certain is the impact of his life. John Mulrooney will be remembered not for how he left, but for how fully he lived and performed. His story reminds us how fragile life can be, even for those who seem endlessly vibrant. And it reminds us, too, of the power of laughter, a gift he shared until his final days.